Another hot summer night in downtown Cincinnati. Welcome to Great American Ballpark. It's game one of a four-game series between the Washington Nationals and the Cincinnati Reds. And the Reds are hoping to jump back into first place by the end of play in the Central tonight. And hi again, everybody. Alongside Chris Welsh, I'm Tom Brenneman. Welcome, as always, to Reds Baseball on Fox Sports Ohio. Pitching, and more pitching. Chris, can you remember the kind of run the Reds on for the better part of 2 months, but especially the last 5 games, the kind of pitching they're getting right now?
Well, you know, Tom, I can't remember it. I don't think you can even ask a guy who would be a legitimate old-timer, even more than me, would remember pitching as good as the Reds have seen. This is only the last 5 starts, and you can see how dominating the starters have been, starting with Travis Wood and that near-perfect game in Philadelphia. Matt Maloney pitched in. He's down in the minor leagues now, but he had a great run of it. Bronson Arroyo's being Bronson Arroyo, and he's on a run. Volkin's coming out throwing 97 miles an hour, and then Travis Wood all over again. Add up the earned runs that they've given up, and they've given the Reds a chance to win every one of those ball games that they've taken them out.
Of course, the bad news is during those 5 games with the ERA at 1.3, the Reds are 2-3 in those games. They've lost 3 of them, 1-0.
Well, you know, sometimes you get into a situation where the game takes on a pitching and a defensive energy. I know that sounds kind of funny, but I believe in it. Sometimes you have a slugfest. Sometimes you have low run scoring ball games. But the average with runners in scoring position. Remember before the break we were bragging about how great the Reds were, and they were getting all these hits with runners on base, and it was going to continue all year long. Well, it doesn't always do that, but you've got to find a way to win those 1-0 ball games. Scratch a couple of runs across, run a guy over, take advantage of some mistake somehow, and put a run on the board. That's all the Reds need to do. The good thing about this particular series, they're playing another team, the Washington Nationals. They're offensively challenged right now as well.
Johnny Cueto makes his first start tonight post All-Star break. And we'll talk about his mound opponent when we return.
It'll be a warm night down at the ball yard. 85 first pitch by 9 o'clock, 83, 79 by...
This copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of the Cincinnati Reds and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form.
Sports Ohio is presented in beautiful high definition, courtesy of our friends from H.H. Gray. Well, the weather could be a factor here tonight. Let's check in with Tim Hedrick.
It'll be a warm night down at the ball yard. 85 first pitch by 9 o'clock, 83, 79 by 11 o'clock. There will be a slight chance of a thunderstorm down there. Keep it in mind. Have a good game, everybody. We'll see you tomorrow. Another Nationals game.
Tim, as always, thank you very much. Tonight, Johnny Cueto returns to the mound. He's been pitching quite well.
Well, he's been pitching even better than just quite well. Look at what he did against the Philadelphia Phillies on July the 8th. 7 innings of one-run baseball. Got a no decision in that ball game. Johnny Cueto this year has had 5 games blown for him, blown saves, and that leads all the major leagues. He could easily have 13 wins right now out of his 18 starts, but his last 5 games is really what we want to talk about. He is 2-1. His earned run average over that span is under 1. He's really getting it right now. He's not trying to overthrow his fastball, rear back and throw 95. He's pitching about 91, 92. When he needs the heat, he can reach back, and it's right there for him. Expect another good night from Johnny Cueto. He owes the Washington Nationals a little bit of a payback, because when these two guys hooked up last August, it was J.D. Martin that got the best of the Reds and Johnny Cueto. Cueto had a very bad game that night. I'm sure he remembers it and would like to pay back the Nationals big time.
Clearly, Martin not getting much run support. An outstanding earned run average, 5 quality starts out of his 7 outings. He had a 1-4 record.
He's got good control. He will not walk you, but he's a hittable guy. We'll see if the Reds come out swinging the bats.
All right, series opener, Cueto against Martin, Reds against the Nationals. First pitch around the corner. Farm, like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. By Ford F-Series trucks, the best-selling trucks 33 straight years. By Just for Men, for mustache and beard, keep your edge. And by Skyline Chili, whenever you're feeling good and hungry, it's Skyline time. Well, we are just about set for baseball here at Great American Ballpark under what is becoming dark, cloudy skies above. Johnny Cueto against Niger Morgan to lead it off. First pitch in there, a strike. This game is underway. Niger Morgan at 255, 14 runs batted in, and quickly Cueto ahead of him at no balls and 2 strikes.
You size up Cueto early on. Does he have his fastball? He's on a roll right now. You know that. He's pitching, not throwing. That's good for Cueto. That's part of the maturing process. Try to be more efficient, averaging a little more than 16.5 pitches per inning. He'd like to get that down to 14 or 15.
To Hopper to Orlando Cabrera, and Morgan taken care of to begin the game. Let's take a look at Jim Riggleman starting lineup presented by Cincinnati Bell. Christian Guzman at second coming up. Ryan Zimmerman at third. Adam Dunn, the longtime Red, the first baseman and cleanup hitter. Josh Willingham in left. Pudge Rodriguez behind the plate. The latter third of Willie Harris. Ian Desmond, very impressive offensively against the Reds in Washington earlier this year. And J.D. Martin is on the mound. 19th start of the year for Johnny Cueto, gunning for win number 9 here tonight. Starts out Christian Guzman down and in with a fastball. Ball 1.
You know, you look at Cueto's stats, and one thing that jumps out at me, you don't see it on this page, but he has only 9 quality starts out of his 18 starts. And a quality start is going 6 innings or more, giving up 3 runs or less. And one reason why Johnny Cueto doesn't have more is that he's pitched several ball games in which he's only pitched 5 1/3, 5 2/3 innings, where he's given up 1 run or none and been taken out of the ball game because he hits his pitch limit. So being more efficient is something on his mind, and he's coming out throwing strikes tonight.
Guzman again hovering right around 300. That's pretty much where he is year in and year out. 4 points shy of that number coming into play tonight. A home run and 22 batted in. And the 1-2 pitch is fouled away. The Nationals, like the Reds, squandered fantastic pitching over the weekend. The Reds at least won 2 out of 3 over Colorado. The Nationals lost 2 out of 3, while actually outscoring the Marlins 4-3 over the entire weekend series. 2-2 on Guzman. And they have now been shut out in consecutive games for the first time since 2008. And have been a part of 3 straight shutouts after being a part of only 6 blankings over the first 89 games of the year.
I haven't looked at the league stats, Tom, but it sounds to me like you've got a matchup in this series, a 4-game series of 2 teams that have been shut out probably as much as anybody in all of Major League Baseball.
Well, the Reds have been shut out the most. There's a swing and a miss by Guzman. And he's out of there on strikes. 2 up and 2 down for Johnny Cueto. The Reds on defense brought to you by Ford. Johnny Gomes, Drew Stubbs, and Jay Bruce. In the outfield, again, it's Miguel Cairo for Scott Rowland. Cabrera, Phillips, and Votto round off the infield. A battery of Cueto and Ryan Hannigan. Scott Rowland, who's been very sick over the weekend, feeling a lot better today. But the last game in which he played, he tagged up, tried to advance from second to third, was thrown out and injured a hamstring. He had a cortisone shot in the hamstring yesterday and hoping to be back sooner rather than later. Certainly worth something to keep an eye on. Quickly 0-2 on the third baseman, Ryan Zimmerman. Well, tonight another treat coming your way. You can ask Chris Welsh questions via email by logging on to foxsportsohio.com. And we'll try and answer some of your questions, many of them during our game tonight. So jump on right now, and Chris is standing by.
I got an idea for you, Tom. I take the easy ones, you take the tough ones. Just like good old times there.
Swung on and fouled out of play. You know what? No problem.
Okay.
No problem.
Done.
But you're the guy that put on the uniform, and I'm sure there are a lot of folks out there that want to talk to somebody who did just that. So
let me refine that. I take the yes/no answers or questions, and you take the ones that require a little more explanation.
I'm not smart enough for further explanation. Yes and no are cool by me.
How about we just team up and see what we can do?
You know what? Not a bad idea.
All right.
It's good to have you back in the saddle. We missed you over the weekend.
Thank you. Nice to be back.
You were over on the radio side yesterday.
It was, but really the Hall of Fame weekend, the gala last night, what a super weekend for Reds fans.
And a super first inning for Johnny Cueto. 1, 2, 3 go the Nationals. The Reds are coming up. take a look at Dusty Baker's starting lineup presented by Cincinnati Bell. Brandon Phillips, Orlando Cabrera, and Joey Votto. Johnny Gomes, a cleanup hitter. Jay Bruce batting in the 5-hole, and right Miguel Cairo at third. The latter third of Drew Stubbs, Ryan Hannigan, Johnny Cueto against J.D. Martin.
J.D. Martin, of course, he pitched a pretty good game against the Reds last August. That was against Johnny Cueto. He's not an overpowering pitcher. His fastball is only 86 to 88 miles an hour. Very tough on right-handers. He's holding them to a batting average down around 217. Good control, so he will not walk a batter. He's only walked 5 in his 4 innings. So here's a guy that's around the plate, knows what he's doing, not overpowering by any means, but you know, the Reds ought to match up pretty well, considering they faced very good pitching over the weekend against the Colorado Rockies. Maybe a little bit more hittable here, at least until Wednesday when Strasburg takes them out.
Brandon Phillips looks at strike one. A .295 batter is Brandon Phillips. 13 home runs, 33 runs batted in. Reds shut out for the 11th time yesterday. There's a soft liner picked up on the backhanded shortstop by Guzman, and he'll throw out Phillips one away. Let's take a look at the Nationals on defense, presented by Ford. Josh Willingham, Nigel Morgan, Willie Harris in the outfield. Brian Zimmerman, Adam Dunn on the corners. Ian Desmond and Christian Guzman up the middle, and Martin and Pudge Rodriguez the battery. Orlando Cabrera, one of the few Reds swinging a hot bat right now. 5 for 10 over the weekend against Colorado. First pitch swinging, a pop fly and a short left, and that's easy for Willingham. 2 away. Right away, we're going to start answering some of your questions. Is there any need for concern regarding Jay Bruce? Will he ever become an elite player?
Oh, you know, I think the first thing you have to remember about Jay Bruce is that he's a guy that's only had really a year and a half in the major leagues. Still a young kid, learning on the job. A lot of guys his age are just not getting out of college and playing in A-ball or double-A. And he's already been on the big leagues for a while. I think you have to really measure yourself when you set the bar of expectation for Jay Bruce. He's going to be a very hot player for a while. He's going to be very cold for a while. But the Reds do need him in the second half. There's no question about that. And the final answer for me is that, yes, I think eventually he will be an elite player, but it may not be for a few years. I mean, you can't put the cart in front of the horse and rush maturity and experience. You have to come out there and play every day to get it.
1-1 to Joey Votto, a .310 batter, 22 home runs, and an even 60 runs batted in. Votto had a very quiet series over the weekend, did not drive in a run, had 2 hits and 10 at bats. Two to Votto. Ground foul. Philadelphia not fooling around after getting drilled last night in Chicago. Opening up a 4-game series tonight in St. Louis. Philadelphia scored 3 times in the first inning and still batting. The Reds start play today for the first time in the last 18 days, not in first place in the National League Central Division. First time they have been in second place since June the 29th. But they're only a half game back. 2-2 to Votto. Fly ball left field. Backing up on it Willingham. He has room, and that's it. 1-2-3 go the Reds. We go to the second. No score. players for serious injuries. Call 1-800-ELK-OHIO. A quartet of players atop the National League leaderboard in home runs. 2 of them playing in a game tonight. Joey Votto and Adam Dunn, each with 22. And as if on cue, Adam Dunn will lead things off against Johnny Cueto here in the 2nd inning. Big shift put on defensively by the Reds against this left-handed batting pull hitter. Dunn is having a very good year. Well, batting average at .288, which is not Adam Dunn like. 22 home runs, 59 runs batted in.
Yeah, it's about 20 or actually 35 points higher than his major league average. And talking to Adam Dunn over in Washington, he says, you know, the main reason for me having a better batting average this year is that I think the Great American Ballpark ruined me. Because even though I didn't try to do it, every time I stepped to the plate, the temptation to try to hit a home run here was so great that I just had a big swing. And I started swinging for the fences. In Washington, the ball doesn't carry nearly as well. So he's got to be a better eye at the plate, which he always has had a decent eye. But he starts going, you know, more towards left field with a couple of strikes on him, hitting the situations rather than trying to hit the ball into the river.
2-2 to count on Dunn. Just off the inside edge, a full count.
Now that's where you've got to pitch Dunn if you can, is get it inside, underneath his arms. When he takes his stance in there in the batter's box, from Johnny Cueto's perspective, your focal point is right under those elbows, right under his hands right there. That's where you want to throw the baseball.
And after being ahead at 1-2, Cueto walks him. Apparently the Reds have a lot of fans down in Florida. This one from Niceville, Florida. Don wants to know, how do you see the Reds pitching surplus working out? Who's staying and who's going?
I think a lot of things work themselves out. You know, we're still a ways away. Homer Bailey is due to come back at some point, but he's going to throw a stimulated or a simulated game in a couple of days.
It'll be a stimulating experience.
And I'm sure you'll be there to watch.
Josh Willingham pops it up. It's playable in foul ground, and Hannigan squeezes it tightly 1 out.
Aaron Harang has a back issue and is not really ready to get out on the mound yet. So, you know, I think that the Reds will, sometimes these things work themselves out. There's no use to try to fret about it before you have guys ready and able to play. But I think that you can have 2 problems. One is not enough pitching, and one is too much pitching. I'd much rather have too much pitching any day of the week, and so would Dusty Baker.
Ivan Rodriguez, a .286 batter with a home run and 28 runs batted in, playing in just his 64th game of the year tonight. What a remarkable career Rodriguez has had. A 13-time Gold Glove winner, a 14-time All-Star, and this should be a double play to end the inning off his bat. After an inning and a half, still no score. Out in left center or right center during our game. Colleen Scola of Cincinnati will win the beautiful new Tundra. Out in deep left center field on display here at the ballpark, and you can register for your chance to win at an upcoming game by visiting your Cincinnati and Northern Kentucky Toyota dealer. I'd like to say hello to Paul Case from Middletown. Unable to get down to the ball game tonight, undergoing some medical treatments, but Paul, our thoughts and prayers are with you. Get well soon and come on down to the ballpark. Four, 5, and 6 in the Reds batting order against right-hander J.D. Martin. Gomes, Bruce, and Cairo. No score in the game. Only one base runner for either team. And the Reds have their first base runner. A leadoff single here in the second by Johnny.
Ivan Rodriguez, 16 double plays already hit into this season. That's before this one turned by the Reds, 4-6-3. If Brandon Phillips is able to stop that ball, it's going to be an easy double play. Rodriguez doesn't run well. Orlando Cabrera gets a feed from the should-be Gold Glove second baseman for the Reds this year, and double play started right there. Brandon Phillips, the leader in the National League. And a lot of that is a credit to the pitching staff. I mean, you've got now guys on this pitching staff that concentrate a little bit more on getting that ground ball. Mike Leake, of course, recently Travis Woody, although he's somewhat of a fly ball pitcher. Johnny Cueto's become more of a ground ball pitcher.
Well, now Jay Bruce, he looks at ball one. Batting average at .259, 10 home runs, 36 runs batted in for Jay. Hitless in his last 13 at bats, and has not driven in a run over his last 14 games, including 12 starts.
Well, specific to this matchup with J.D. Martin, Jay Bruce really can concentrate on staying back. I mean, Martin does not have the kind of fastball to blow it by Bruce upstairs, which is the way a lot of pitchers have been pitching to Bruce. But he can stay back and kind of wait for Martin to come in to his zone with a pitch, knowing that it's going to be somewhat off speed. I mean, Martin's fastball right now is about 86, 87 miles an hour. So he's more of a guy that wants to fool you into getting an out rather than trying to blow it by you.
Boy, that is pinpoint location on back-to-back fastballs here by J.D. Martin.
Yeah, you know what those are, Tom? Those are cutters. Those are backdoor cutters where they look like they're going to stay off the plate, and at the last second they cut in and just touch that outside corner. Now he turns it over and goes to the changeup to move the ball the other way.
So a 3-2 count on Jay Bruce after a leadoff single by Johnny Gomes. The Nationals come in 40 wins against 52 defeats. They're in fifth in a 5-team division in the National League East, 14 behind front running in Atlanta. Runner goes. Foul away.
Now Dusty Baker putting the runner in motion because J.D. Martin is not much of a strikeout pitcher, even though Jay Bruce has had a propensity lately, especially to strike out a lot. He figures that Martin's probably going to try to get Bruce with something off speed, which would give Johnny Gomes a chance, even if Bruce swings and misses, of being able to come into second base with the stolen bag.
Johnny has 2 of those in 5 attempts on the year. Goes again, and Bruce draws a walk. Well, the first 2-1 in the Reds' second inning, and we invite you to enjoy post-game fireworks after the Reds and the Braves on Friday, July 30th, featuring a movie music soundtrack chosen by a fan vote. The fireworks Friday during Fans Choice Weekend, presented by Shakely. For tickets, call 381-REDS or go to Reds.com. Reds have 3 more games on this homestand and then only have 3 more games at home through the rest of July. And that's at Friday, Saturday, Sunday weekend set. The final days, the final weekend of the month with Atlanta in town. Miguel Cairo showing bunt and takes away ball 1. Reds have a week-long road trip coming up starting this weekend. On their way to Houston Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Milwaukee Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Have an off day that following Thursday. Atlanta in for 3, then back to the road again. On their way to Pittsburgh and Chicago. To Miguel Cairo, and a throw back to second, and Gomes saw it coming all the way. In fact, the Reds only have 31 more home games the rest of this year after tonight.
That is amazing. Where did the time go?
Tonight, their 50th home date of the season. They have played 44 games on the road.
Well, the Reds have done pretty well against teams with less than 500 records on the year. Where they've struggled is when they played good teams, the team leaders in the division. And their schedule really is chock full of teams that are under 500 here the rest of the way. The thing that bothers you, though, is all the road games that are coming up and all the West Coast games, or at least the Pacific time zone games the Reds have. The Cardinals do not play one game the rest of the year west of Houston.
1-1 on Miguel Cairo with 2 on and nobody out. Cairo squares. They send the runner, and that's a foul ball.
I don't know if that was a busted play or whether exactly what was going on, because certainly if you're going to steal, you not necessarily want to bunt. What if he pops this bunt up? Then you pop yourself into a double play ball, maybe a triple play if it's executed properly. Trying to move the runners over. You would think normally if the team is flowing along regularly offensive kind of process that they should have, you wouldn't see Dusty Baker resorting to this. But because they've struggled so mightily offensively recently, you have to take some drastic measures. Put a bunt on.
And Cairo unable to get the job done by moving the runners over with a bunt. Now he takes a breaking ball, which sends the count to 2-2.
You know, I'm not so sure I put a bunt on with J.D. Martin on the mound right now. I mean, here's a guy that's really struggling on the road. He's walked a batter in this inning. He doesn't have overpowering stuff. You're going to put the ball in play somewhere. Now, you could play hit and run with nobody out. Chances of Cairo making contact probably pretty good.
2-2 on Cairo. Martin will look back twice at Gomes. A long look back, and now the pitch. And it's off the inside edge, 3-2, so with nobody out, you figure you're going to get a strike. Talked about Martin's control. Yes, he walked the prior batter, Bruce, but it's only a 6th walk of the year. Do you start him with nobody out?
I do. He's not looking real comfortable out there right now. When your fastball tops out at 86 and you have to throw a strike, not a good feeling. I've been there.
So what do?
You throw him a hook. It's probably how he got in the big leagues anyway.
3-2 on Cairo. The runners don't go, and it's ball 4. So a guy who had walked in 40 innings, 5 batters all year long, has walked back-to-back hitters after a leadoff single by Gomes to load him up with nobody out.
Now, he's pitching scared right now, and it is so obvious to everybody. He should be in the ballpark, certainly now to our viewers, and obviously in the dugout as well. Now, think about this, though. If you're Drew Stubbs and you're the scheduled batter in this inning, and there's Jim Riggleman, the manager, we're a little worried right now about the status of his starting pitcher. But if you're Drew Stubbs, you're thinking, you know what? I know he just walked 2 batters, but I'm not going to sit around and wait. I think he's going to want to establish a fastball. He just had a little lecture from his catcher. Come on, let's go get this guy. If I see a fastball waist high, I am all over it if I'm Drew Stubbs. Ready to leave my shoes swinging after him.
They're loaded with nobody out. And he was ready and shoots it down the right field line, and it will fall in a base hit. 1 run is going to score. Now the Reds are running themselves into trouble, although they get away with it. As a throw from right field, Willie Harris gets away from Adam Dunn. 2-run score. And wow, the Reds, they make a break and they catch a break.
Well, anybody who's watched the Washington Nationals know that they've had big-time problems defensively. Drew Stubbs takes the first one he sees the other way. Nice bit of hitting right there. The right fielder Willie Harris comes over and he fires the ball back in, and it gets away from the cutoff man. That was a very weak effort by Christian Guzman to try to go get that ball. And it also got away from Adam Dunn. So the Reds, who are going to be hung up with a couple of guys in no man's land between bases, end up scoring 2, second and third. It all comes out swelling great for the Reds. And the Nationals got to be wondering, what the heck? The Reds are trying to give us a run on the base pass, and we're not even there to take it.
Well, you made the call about Stubbs being ready to hit, and give him credit. He didn't try to jack one into left field and knock it out of the ballpark. He just put the ball in play and gets a 2-run double on it.
You know, his 2-home run game the other night, I was talking to him about it before the ball game. I said, you know, Drew, the most impressive thing was that a pitch just right there, he hit out of the ballpark to right field. And a pitch that was a changeup, almost in the same spot, he pulled into left field for a home run. That's staying inside the ball right there, staying right on it, not trying to pull off of it.
2-0 now on Ryan Hanigan.
Well, if you can only get Jay Bruce and Drew Stubbs hot at the same time, it would relieve a lot of the worries the Reds have right now about scoring runs.
Good start tonight for Jay. Drew a walk and has scored a run. Miguel Cairo stands at third. Drew Stubbs at second. And it's ball 3 to Ryan Hanigan. Very good numbers this year for Hanigan, with runners in scoring position. And he takes ball 4. The 3rd walk of the inning. Well, Chris, here you go. Dustin and Pickle wants to know, do you think the Reds will add a bat before the trade deadline at the end of the month?
Well, Tom, I'm going to refer that one to you. I mean, you're down there oftentimes interviewing Dusty Baker. I know you're kind of in the, I can't say inner circle,
I'm
but
definitely nowhere close
you do
to that
have
circle.
some close contact with Dusty.
I can't
when
even
you turn the
spell
recorder
circle
off. And I don't know. What do you think? Have you guys discussed that?
To begin with, I can't spell inner circle, and I'm nowhere near it. And I'm not dodging your question, Dustin. I have no idea if they're adding a bat or not.
Yeah, nor do I.
Loaded for Johnny Cueto, and it's in there. Strike, 1 ball and 1 strike. Cueto 4 hits and 30 at-bats, yet to knock in a run. But he couldn't have a more golden chance to do that than he does right here and right now. They're loaded with nobody out. And a liner that eats up Guzman against a drawn-in infield, and 2 runs are going to score. And the Reds lead it 4-0 on a 2-run hit by Cueto. The advantage man of the drawn-in infield.
Oh, you just try to make contact. And Johnny Cueto, who's really improved at the bat. This ball, you know what? Christian Guzman, again, could have gotten in front of that ball, blocked it, at least gotten 1 out of it. And 2 misplays, in my mind, from him this inning have kept the Nationals on the field, given the Reds 3 runs now. And the defense, which has been the Achilles heel of this ball club all year long, continues to be. But who cares? The Reds are up 4-0 right now, and they're rolling right along.
Steve McCaddy, the pitching coach, is coming out to visit with Martin, who has not retired a batter. To begin this second inning, a single, a pair of walks, a 2-run double, another walk, a 2-run single. And now the Reds will go back to the top of their batting order and Brandon Phillips.
I think it's funny how Christian Guzman is the only one of the infielders in there. Maybe he wants to be there to make sure they're not talking about him.
Two on, nobody out. Brandon Phillips digging in. He grounded out to second base his first time up. And a breaking ball away from Brandon is ball one. Miguel Batista getting loose in the Washington bullpen. 1-0 to Brandon Phillips, and he takes off the outside corner. Well, Phillips looking for something to drive right here and right now at 2-0. There you get a look at Batista.
And former Reds coach Jimmy Lett down there.
Big swing and a miss by Brandon.
Trying to hit that ball to Fort Thomas.
And again, the runner at second, Johnny Cueto at first, and a high pop-up into short right field. Willie Harris coming on to get it, and that's out number one, and everybody stays put. Eighth man to bat in the inning will be Orlando Cabrera. He flied out to short left field in the first inning.
Hey, let's send out some birthday wishes tonight, all right? A couple of young ladies in the Cincinnati area enjoying their birthdays tonight. Peggy Williams, living in Kenwood now, former Citizen of the Year in Forest Park several times and celebrating birthday number 86. And Kathleen McQuaid over in Western Hills, birthday number 87 to you, Kathleen. Happy birthday to both of you.
Strike one to Cabrera. Happy birthday indeed, ladies. Good for you. Still going strong.
Watching Fox Sports Ohio every night. Not missing a Reds game.
Oh, and one on Orlando Cabrera with 2 on, 1 out. 4 runs in his second inning. And a liner played on. He caught it in the air.
He caught it in the air.
Double play on Hannigan.
No, I thought he got that ball on a bounce.
I think the umpire said he caught it because they never threw to first. Yeah, it's a double play. FoxSportsOhio.com. And then right after the game, get a complete wrap-up presented by 1-800-SAFE-AUTO and SafeAuto.com. Hal standing by just to our left.
Well, a double play either way, you're going to cut it right there. Ryan Hannigan off second base. Was it a catch? No, not on a fly. So the ground ball, the flip to the second baseman, and then Guzman will apply the tag to Ryan Hannigan. That completes the double play. Kind of an odd way to do it. You see the umpire, though, the second base umpire, Gary Cedarstrom, saying, you didn't get that on the fly, but it really didn't matter. But the Reds were able to push across 4 in the inning. He's the timekeeper tonight. You know, sometimes you come to the ballpark, you see the umpire with the stopwatch out there. They stop, watch, or they measure to the second every break between innings. And sometimes it varies, whether it's a nationally broadcast game or an ESPN game or a local game like we have here tonight on Fox Sports Ohio. And that pitch should be delivered within about 5 seconds of exactly when the inning should start.
And the crew chief is the one generally who will handle that, and that's exactly the role of Gary Cedarstrom on this crew. 1-0 to Willie Harris in right field. Cueto now given a 4-0 lead as we start the third inning. Fastball at 94 that runs in on Harris. He drops it foul out of play. 1-2. Well, the Nationals had a very ugly weekend. I mean, like the Reds, they didn't hit much. Unlike the Reds, they lost 2 out of 3 and just had a very large number of just ugly plays. Base running blunders that ran them out of a couple of scoring innings yesterday. And Chris mentioned earlier, their defense has been a hindrance to the club's success or lack thereof the entire year. We've seen a little bit of that in the game already tonight. And Chris, we know how they feel. I mean, the Reds have had some teams that played similar style baseball over the last 9 years. Not every one of them.
After a while, you get tired of watching it, especially bad defense. It's one thing to look lethargic when your team doesn't hit, but it's another thing when you take that out in the field and can't make some of the most basic of all plays. That's about the last thing Johnny Cueto wanted to do right there. After his team scores a 4-spot for him in the inning, you go ahead and you walk a guy that is batting 177. Cueto not happy with himself. Time to get focused here and pitch like the champion pitcher that he can be.
Cueto just turned 24 years old before the start of the year. Of course, 4 of the 5 members of the current Reds starting rotation are 27 and under. Edinson Volquez is 27, Cueto 24, Travis Wood 23, and Mike Leake 22. They've had other starters this year. Sam LeCure 25, Matt Maloney just turned 26, and of course disabled right-hander Homer Bailey is only 24. The only 2 pitchers older than 27, veterans Bronson Arroyo and the disabled Aaron Harang. We'll get a look at the 22-year-old Leake tomorrow night. The veteran Bronson Arroyo against Steven Strasburg on Wednesday. And then they flip-flop the other way. The Nationals with a veteran Levan Hernandez against Edinson Volquez making his second start. 1-2 on Ian Desmond. What did you think of Desmond that first time the Reds went to Washington? He had a good series offensively.
Yeah, he had a very good series, you know, and he's a guy that has got a lot of potential. Of course, he's still making some blunders at shortstop that they're, you know, they figure that he's going to come around on that. A young player being tutored by former Reds coach Tim Foley. They love his range and they love his athletic ability. Got his batting average up to 254. You know, Tom, you brought up Sam LeCure as one of those young pitchers the Reds have run out there on their major league staff this year. He had a heck of a night last night in Louisville. Pitched 7 innings and struck out 13, his first time back off the disabled list.
Good for him. Good guy. pitched well up here.
Yes, he did. Of course, the team he pitched against, Lehigh Valley, the AAA franchise of the Philadelphia Phillies.
3-2 now on Ian Desmond.
Now, this is all about mental concentration for Johnny Cueto, and we've seen it happen before where he's clearly got the stuff to dominate this team, the Washington Nationals. They come in here in an offensive funk. They're down 4-0 right now. It's a hot, humid night. They're ripe to be plucked. But you've got to be able to concentrate a little bit and use your stuff the way he should be able to.
Runner goes and a base hit into center field. Advancing first to third is Willie Harris. So after walking the number 7 hitter, a base hit to the number 8 hitter, and the pitcher J.D. Martin will bat as Brian Price will visit Cueto.
It's the same thing that J.D. Martin ran into. You run the count to 3-2. You have to throw a strike. Johnny Cueto's best pitch is a fastball, and Desmond knows that, and he pretty much guesses it's coming, and just about down Broadway, he lines it right back up the middle. So this really ought to be a checkup from the neck up for Brian Price and Johnny Cueto, saying, hey, come on now. You've got great stuff. Shake yourself a little bit. Get focused and get the ball down.
Bruce, I got to ask you. In my opinion, age is very different than experience. And when you look at Johnny Cueto, yeah, he's only 24 years old, but again, you're talking about experience. I mean, he's knocking on the door now, 75, 80 starts in his major league career.
Mm-hmm.
Is there a number of starts or a certain point in time where you figure some of that maybe let up in focus or concentration starts to turn in your favor?
Well, you know what? I think that it probably doesn't come until you're a little bit later in your 20s for most pitchers. And if you start charting guys in their major league careers, you're going to find it when they get past age 25. And whether they have 100 starts at that time or whether they have 50 starts at that time, I think age is different than experience, but you don't get it early just because you pitch a lot of minor league or major league baseball. I think it varies for different pitchers, too.
Sacrifice by Martin will advance Desmond on to second. Harris stays put at third, one out in the inning.
But I think that's where the pitching coach comes in. That's exactly where Brian Price comes in. He came out there at the right time because he realized, obviously, Johnny Cueto's a little bit out of focus right now, that he's way better than he's showing himself to be. And he's got to be like a dad right now to Johnny Cueto, or a big brother. Say, hey, come on now. Every pitch, every moment, you've got to stay on him. Some pitchers you need to just back off of. Bronson Arroyo being a great example right there. He doesn't want a guy in his face all the time. But Cueto sometimes needs that. So you coach different pitchers different ways depending on their personalities and really how they're wired.
Ball in the air to left center field. It'll be caught by Gomes, but deep enough to drive in the runner, Willie Harris, from third, and the Nationals on the board. It is a 4-1 game. 2 are out in the inning. All right, Rick from Fort Wayne wants to know, how good is Aroldis Chapman, and do you think he will be called up, and if so, when?
Well, Aroldis Chapman last night evidently had a pretty good night. He faced 4 batters. He struck out for all 4 that he faced, and evidently, from what I understand, he topped out a couple of pitches at 102 miles an hour. So I got to figure that we will see Aroldis Chapman at some point in the season, but I'm not exactly sure when. There's a lot of other things other than just the ability to throw hard and throw the ball over the plate that they want Aroldis Chapman to become accustomed to. One is being a good teammate and doing the things that all good teammates are expected to do. And I think that for a young man that has not been exposed to American baseball before, he's got a little bit of a learning curve to go through. And that's where he is right now.
Runner at second. 2 away, and that ball is smoked into right center field. It will fall in a base hit to drive in another run. So a 2-out run scoring single by Christian Guzman, and a 4-run lead is down to 2.
Now, these are mental focus runs for me. I mean, Johnny Cueto, you walk the leadoff hitter in the inning who's batting $177. Then you go 3-2 to the number 8 hitter, and you let Desmond hit a ball up the middle with a pitch right down Broadway. Now they turn the inning, the lineup over, and you've got to face some good hitters, and Christian Guzman is a very good hitter. So you throw a pitch up to him, and now he gets a base hit, and all of a sudden your team spotted you 4, and you've got it back down to 2.
Ryan Zimmerman, 16 home runs, 48 batted in, steps up. He grounded out to Orlando Cabrera, ending the Washington first inning. We're in the third. Reds have a 4-2 lead. Fastball away, 1 ball and 1 strike on Ryan Zimmerman. '20th pitch in the inning upcoming from Johnny Cueto. He walked the leadoff man, then allowed a hit. And a bunt put a pair of runners in scoring position, and both have scored. One on a sac fly by Niger Morgan, and the 2-out single a moment ago by Christian Guzman. Liner caught by Cabrera to retire the side. The Nationals get 2, and after 2.5 trail by 2.
Boy, that 1-0 fight is like killing us right now. And, you know, in all of them, we've had opportunities with runners on third, less than 2 outs. And, you know, we just got to, you know, get more, you know, selective, and at the same time, you know, realize that he's in trouble and not us. But that's part of the situation, especially when you have some young players that have never been in that situation that are learning. So we just got to keep teaching and talking, and you know, we'll get it. And, you know, we're going to stay after.
More Geico Direct Quote from Dusty Baker. Reds have lost 1-0 in 3 of their last 5 games. They really had a hard time scoring runs. I mean, that game on Saturday night was certainly a bit misleading. Yeah, they scored 8, and 8 is 8. But they only had 5 hits in the game, and they hit 4 home runs of the 5 hits in that game. The only 4 home runs they've hit over the 5-game stretch. Meanwhile, Joey Votto rounds out on the very first pitch here in the 3rd inning. Reds in front 4-2 as they bat in the bottom of the 3rd. J.D. Martin had to burn through 29 pitches in that 2nd inning. Which the Reds scored 4 at times, and Martin walked 3 batters. the end of the bat. A pop up into short right center. Harris is there, and that's out number 2. Well, when the Reds get it done with an RBI this year, that means another $25 from Shakely goes to the Reds Community Fund. Shakely, it's done. Two down, nobody on in the Reds' third inning, and here comes Jay Bruce, who walked and scored in the 4-run second. Some rumbling from the skies above, and yes, indeed, that was thunder. Apparently, there is a front that is moving from the west towards Cincinnati, although it looks like we have a chance to almost split that front in half and miss some of the rain to our south and a little bit to our north. We'll keep our fingers crossed.
Tim Hedrick, watch out. My partner's getting pretty good reading the radar.
Well, that's because you pulled it up on the computer. Am I right or wrong on that? Is that what it looks like? We have a chance to miss it?
It looks like we're going to get a little wet.
Well, you're always the bearer of such good news. I walked into the park today in a great mood, ready to work. First words out of Jesse Jackson's mouth, here comes the rain.
You want your tomatoes to grow or not?
The powers that be very much believe that we're going to get hit with that rain, which you thought we would going to break, Mr. Welsh. It's not raining right now, but, and just now it does begin to rain. So they're going to bring out the tarp, and hopefully this won't last very long. You're the guy that has the radar there in front of you, and you were accurate about a minute and a half ago. Any more to report?
It won't be long. Just enough to cool off everybody a little bit. Get the grounds crew a little bit of the exercise that they get when they try to put that big tarp on the field. Boy, are they getting good at that or what? I mean, Doug Gallant and company, one of the best grounds crew in all the league. And,
no doubt.
You know, usually I put a stopwatch on them. I didn't do it tonight, but they did this very efficiently tonight. Under 2 minutes, no doubt.
Well, we've been talking about it. We're going to take your questions. You can ask the announcers. And Lori from Sharonville, Ohio wants to know, I haven't heard anything about Dave Concepcion lately. What's he up to? He's my all-time favorite Red. He is a cattle rancher in Venezuela, and he's doing very, very well. We see him in spring training every year. And, Lori, I'm with you. One of my favorite all-time Reds, not only as a player, but as a guy. Great guy.
I got a Dave Concepcion story for you. In the game in which I hit a home run for the Reds against the Philadelphia Phillies, had a complete game. Davey Concepcion was playing shortstop that night. It was in Philadelphia. And I was a ground ball pitcher, and I threw it real slow. And a lot of hitters would pull that ball into the hole. I call it the 5.5 hole, the hole between third baseman and the shortstop. And I'd wave Davey over into the corner of that hole. I'd get Buddy Bell off the bag. And those guys would almost be standing right next to each other. But it was a very long throw for a shortstop because Davey liked to play out there. And long about by the 6th inning came around, he had 3 errors. Because he'd get the ball, but he would be in short left field by the time he fielded the ball. He'd throw it over, and I think Nick Osaski playing first base. And Osaski wouldn't be able to pick the ball out of the dirt, and Davey gets charged with an error. So the 6th inning, he comes in next to me. He says, I no more play shortstop when you pitch. I'm tired of errors.
That's a great story.
But he's a great guy, and I'll tell you what, in my career, I was very lucky to have, as a Red, Barry Larkin and Davey Concepcion both playing shortstop for me. Prior to that, it was Ozzie Smith that played shortstop, and then Gary Templeton. So I had some pretty good pickers over there at shortstop.
Pretty good.
I think Davey was one of the best ever, no question.
Rain is lightly falling, and we're going to take a few more of your questions tonight here in our booth at Fox Sports Ohio. Nate in Edgewood, Kentucky. Does this year's Reds team, Chris, remind you of a 1990 World Series team?
Well, you know what? Rather than me speak to that exactly, I'll paraphrase what some of the members of the 1990 team told me this weekend. Of course, it was the Hall of Fame weekend. They celebrated not only the induction of Chris Sabo and Pedro Borbon and Mulaney, who was Tony Mullane, who was put in the Reds Hall of Fame. But there were several guys on that 1990 team that said, yes, this reminds me a lot. Tom Browning, who watches us all the time from down in Goodyear, Arizona, says the same thing. I know that Norm Charlton echoed it, and so did Hal Morris. I had a long conversation with Hal the other night, and he thought that this ball club, the 2010 Reds, very much resemble, and not necessarily in the talent. I mean, obviously they're built differently. The bullpens aren't the same, but in the attitude. And there is a kind of an attitude, a little bit of a swagger on this team in 2010, and I think that's what it takes.
Well, the questions just keep on coming.
All right.
And, Chris, I know you know all about the necklaces that the Reds are wearing this season, and that is our next question, I believe. And not only the Reds players are wearing, but a lot of players on different teams all over baseball with their team colors on them, braided necklaces. What are they, and where can I find one? Asked Angie from Hamilton, Ohio.
That's a good question, because people stop me all the time and ask me that, Angie. Now, that's Chris Heisey. He does have kind of a somewhat of a braid or a looped one. That might be 2 necklaces in one. I'm not sure. I haven't seen that kind of style. Miguel Cairo's got one. These are titanium necklaces that have been around for about 3 or 4 years now, and you see more and more major leaguers use them, and they say that if you wear this titanium necklace, it also comes in a bracelet, like a rubberized bracelet with a team logo. It's licensed major league wear that you can buy, and that it'll cure, sore arms, sore necks, sore backs, everything essentially from the head down. Some guys wear it on their wrist because they may have an elbow problem. You see golfers and tennis players do that often. And I've worn one in the past, and I can't tell you that it had great results, but, you can get them. They're called Fightin'. P-H-I-T-E-N necklaces, and they say Fightin' on them, even though they may have a Reds logo. You can get on the Fightin' USA website. I think it's fightinusa.com. They retail for somewhere around $36 a piece for a necklace, and I think somewhat less than that, somewhere in the 20s for a bracelet. But they're very popular. You see more and more kids nowadays wearing them, and not only does it maybe be a fashion statement, but if it has some health benefit, hey, I'm all for that too. Have you tried wearing one?
No.
I'm going to get you one. You got a favorite team?
I'm going to get one of those mouthpieces that the football players are wearing. That was all the rage last year, that all of a sudden it has to do with lining your jaw correctly, your neck, your spine. I'm going to start wearing those, doing day-to-day chores, that mouthpiece. I'm going to start with that first.
I think Polly would probably like that.
It would keep me from talking very much.
That's what
I
I mean.
like it a lot. Gary and Dayton would like to know, where can I find a Chris Welsh Reds baseball card?
I got them for sale right here in the booth.
For sale?
Yeah, quarter a piece. Well, they used to be a nickel. I bought $3 million worth. I'm making.
How are the sales going on now?
Not very good. But I could use an extra quarter here and there. Now you can get them just about anywhere. I've got actually 15 different cards, and going all the way back to the minor leagues when I played for the New York Yankees and the Columbus Clippers. They came out with some cards back in the late 70s. All the way to my last card was actually a St. Pete Pelicans card.
Wow!
I played a year in the Senior Professional League down in St. Pete. And in between some other cards as well. But none of them are very valuable. They're all over the place. And if you want one, write a letter.
But I mean, seriously, where would somebody go to find the? I mean, I'm not a big collectibles guy, but I mean, where's a place? Do you know of a place? And I don't mean to throw you on the spot if you don't know. If a fan was looking for a Chris Welsh baseball card, was looking for a Jeff Brantley baseball card, I mean, Jim Riggleman baseball, where would they go to find them?
Well, there are card shops everywhere. You can go on eBay, number one, and find them. And you just Google up the player of your choice, and you'll come up with plenty of different opportunities to buy one there. And, mine are all reasonably priced. Jeff Brantley's, you probably pay a little bit more for.
Well, yeah, I'm just throwing out a name. If you
get one and you want it signed, come on by, and I'll be happy to sign it for you.
There are people popping in all the time, even while we're on the air. They could come in. They
Jim
come in and
Bonaminio from Jungle Jim in here a little while ago.
Wow. All right, we have another question. Let's take a look. Keith in Withamsville, Ohio, would like to know, did you enjoy the MC Hammer show Friday night? Do you still think he has it? Absolutely, I think the guy still has it. I thought he sounded great here the other night. I mean, he looks good. Hey, look, brother, we don't stay young forever, right?
He looks really good.
Yeah, he looks great. He sounded good. I thought he did an excellent job. I didn't stick around for the post-game concert. I heard the pre-game show concert. I thought the guy sounded great.
What was amazing about MC Hammer for me was that he was a bat boy for the Oakland A's for about 8 years. And it was kind of ironic that he would come in here and, dance for the Reds. The team that whooped his former team 4 straight back in 1990 on a weekend where the Reds were celebrating, the anniversary of that 1990 World Series team. Great timing on the part of the Reds marketing staff right there. And, MC Hammer, good for him. He must have been dying in that sweatsuit, though.
It
was smoking hot that day,
wasn't it? Never known it. He did the pregame show concert, then he came down to the dugout, brought the Reds lineup card out with Dusty Baker. Was hanging around the dugout for a while before the first pitch when they had the, a few more minutes before the game actually got started. And then he was right back out there after the game and doing it. Good for him. We were lucky to have him. Breaking news tells me we're going downstairs to Jim Day, standing by in the dugout to give us an update on what's happening weather-wise. Any truth to that, Jim Day?
Well, I am not a meteorologist. I can only go by the experts down here, and that would be Declan Mullen, who's the superintendent of Great American Ballpark, and Doug Gallant, the head groundskeeper. And both of those guys say 8:30-ish. They put an ish on the end. They don't want to be exact of 8:30, but I don't think this is going to last long. It's about 18 after 8 right now. So they think it's going to quit in the next 10 or 15 minutes, and of course they'll have to get the field ready again, warm up some pitchers, etc. So if all goes well, we should be playing baseball here within 45 minutes, half hour, 45 minutes, according to them. We will keep you posted down here. Rain coming down pretty hard right now, but I think it's going to clear out. They think we're going to finish this game tonight. All right, we're going to a program called Head to Head here on Fox Sports Ohio. We'll have updates when we have them. Stay tuned. The home of the Reds, Fox Sports Ohio. The Reds lead the Nationals. We're back in just a little bit. do. Now in the land of technology, they'll go on there, they might watch part of a movie, they might watch part of a sitcom, turn on another baseball game. They have all the baseball games in the clubhouse. They might go get something to eat. They've got their own little cafeteria in there. Some guys will throw some cards, go old school, and just sit around and play some cards. Some will just sit by themselves, play some music,
take a nap,
talk, take a nap. I mean, there's an abundance of things they can do. In the old clubhouses, there wasn't much choice. You would sit around and talk or play cards, and maybe that's about it. Now they got a lot of toys to play with. They might even play some PlayStation or something.
Yeah, and the other thing they do, too, is right next to the clubhouse is the video room, so they can go in there and watch their at-bats. Joey Votto loves to do that. He lives in there. All right, next question. This is from Walton Harrison, Ohio. What is the device in front of Dusty Baker in the dugout? Well, what he has there is a little easel that he comes out and puts up each day. And then on that little easel, you see that kind of sticking up in front of the fence there, he has a notebook. And on that notebook, printed and typed out notes. And there you see, it's the lineup. It's what guys do against different pitchers, how batters go to pitchers, pitchers versus batters, things of that nature. And Dusty is very deep into that. So we're just minutes away from starting this game. And now let's head upstairs to the men are calling it, Tom Brenneman and Chris Welsh. Gentlemen.
All right, Jeffrey, Jimbo, thank you very, very much. And as you can see, it has turned into a beautiful night. After that shower passed through rather quickly, and we're ready to get back to playing baseball. We're in the top of the fourth inning. Reds scored 4 runs in the second. The Nationals got 2 off Johnny Cueto in the third. And yes, Johnny Cueto will come back out to face Adam Dunn, Josh Willingham, and Pudge Rodriguez here in the fourth inning. Swing and a miss by Dunn, and we're back to action.
You hope that this can do nothing but help Johnny Cueto. I thought he drifted a little bit mentally the first part of this ball game, Tom, letting the Nationals really get a couple of easy runs off of him. Hopefully he's a little more focused right now. Going after Dunn the way you ought to if you've got a 94-mile-an-hour fastball. Your point of target, as I said before, is right underneath the elbows of Adam Dunn. He stays off the plate, but, you know, if you really charted the home run spot in the strike zone where Adam Dunn hits him, it's not there. You get it up and into him, and you can get him all day long.
Strikeout number 2 in the game for Johnny Cueto after a 42-minute rain delay.
Right up here is where you want it, and that's the hole in Adam Dunn's swing. Of course, when you're 6 feet 5 inches tall like Dunn is, you can't cover everything. He likes the ball pretty much down and away, about middle height, just below the belt line on the outer part of the plate. He can hit that one a long, long way.
Josh Willingham, the batter. He fouled out to the catcher, Ryan Hannigan, back in the second inning. Well, we told you Philadelphia got out to a 3-0 first inning lead. They had a 4-1 lead, and the Cardinals have scored 6 unanswered runs and lead 7-4 that game in the fifth. Through the hole in the left field, a base hit by Willingham.
Looked like he went down to get a breaking ball, did Willingham, and it was. It was a little bit of either a changeup or a slider. Sometimes tough to chart Johnny Cueto because when he stays on top of his slider, it has a lot of downward movement, very much like his changeup. He just worked his way through the 2 main power sources in this lineup, Dunn and Willingham.
Ivan Rodriguez bounced into a double play. Ending the second inning is only at bat of the night. Strike 1 from Johnny Cueto. Rodriguez hit the ball very hard, but hit it a step to the right of the Reds' second baseman, Brandon Phillips. Told you both Adam Dunn and Joey Votto, along with Prince Fielder and Corey Hart. Those 4 came in tied atop the National League lead in home runs with 22. Well, now it's a quintet at the top. Albert Pujols, one of 3 Cardinal home runs so far tonight. One and Rodriguez. Had a pitch to hit right there and fouled it back. Not a bad rain delay at all. 42 minutes is pretty snappy compared to what you normally have.
Well, sometimes, you get these things socked in for a long time. That was a pretty quick-moving little system right there.
And a pretty quick-moving fastball away from Rodriguez for the third strikeout of the game. And time now to take a peek at our AT&T trivia question for tonight. Who are the only two current Nationals to play for both the Montreal Expos and the Washington Nationals? Of course, the Nationals franchise moving from Montreal. Although, if I am not mistaken, and I'm pretty sure I know the answer to this question, neither player was with the team when they made the move from Montreal to Washington. Brian Snyder, if I'm not mistaken, who's now with the Philadelphia Phillies, was the last remaining player to stay with the Nationals after making the move from Montreal. Oh, and 1 to Willie Harris, and now timeout is called. 1 on, 2 out. We're in the top of the 4th inning, and the Reds with a 4-2 lead.
Boy, he is coming out throwing a blistering fastball as Johnny Cueto. It looked like all of a sudden he had a little resurgence, a little energy in there. I mean, in the Reds clubhouse during that rain delay. Got himself a dry shirt and a new attitude.
Strike 3 called. Cueto fans the side, allows a hit. Middle of the 4th, the Reds in front by a pair. Four-2 ball game. Reds come to bat at the bottom of the 4th inning, and it's time for us to answer our AT&T trivia question tonight. Who are the only two current Nationals to play for both Montreal and Washington? A couple of guys that have been around a long time. Miguel Batista broke into the big leagues, if I'm not mistaken, with Montreal. Bounced around a number of teams thereafter before returning. And Livan Hernandez. So it's still J.D. Martin on the mound for Washington. It'll be Miguel Cairo, Drew Stubbs, Ryan Hannigan in the bottom of the 4th inning. Reds scored all 4 of their runs off Martin in the 2nd. His other 2 innings, he's retired the side rather easily, 1-2-3.
Well, his whole game plan is really to try to get you to hit his pitch rather than miss his pitch. he'd rather see a 2-pitch at bat anytime than string it out to 5 or 6 or 7 pitches, because the more you see of him, the more hittable he becomes. Although that is a pretty good looking curveball he just dropped on Miguel Cairo.
And really, to follow up to correct myself, I guess technically, I was thinking where Miguel Batista actually established his career. He initially came up for all of 1 game with the Pirates. 4 years later, 9 games with the Marlins, and then became a regular part of the bullpen for Montreal starting in 1998. Ground ball to the shortstop, and Cairo taken care of to begin the bottom of the 4th. Well, Chris, our questions just keep on coming. Adam down in Waynesville, North Carolina, the Tar Heel State, would like to know, when you come to Maggie Valley, NC, what is your favorite thing to do in Maggie Valley?
Well, not just one thing I like to do down there. Of course, I like to play golf. I like to hike. A lot of hiking trails around there. They've got Ghost Town in the Sky, which is an amusement park at the top of a mountain you take a ski lift to. And, of course, I like to go to the Legends Grill, have a nice dinner, and see my good buddy Jim Heigl and company down there, and sit back and watch some sports on TV.
Bruce Stubbs pops up a breaking ball behind the plate, and there's room for Rodriguez, and they're 2 away in the inning.
I'll tell you what, when J.D. Martin flips that little breaking ball up there and gets right on the corner instead of off the plate, all of a sudden he makes it look really easy. I mean, for a guy that's topping out his fastball about 86 miles an hour, normally left-handers can get away with that. Not often do you see right-hander throw with the modest kind of velocity that J.D. Martin does, but he's got a little curveball right there, and Drew makes himself an easy out.
That'll bring up Brian Hannigan. He had a walk his first time up. That was part of the 4-run Reds' second inning against Martin tonight. In foul ground, it's Rodriguez, and the 3rd perfect inning of the night for J.D. Martin. We go to the 5th. The Reds still in front, 4-2. Chris, you were here for this one. One of the longest blasts ever hit in recent memory in the city of Cincinnati. 535 feet on August the 14th, 2004.
Absolutely impressive. That's the only way you can describe that. I mean, a monster shot. He also hit another one, which I thought was just about as long. I'm not sure how you measure them when they go be out of sight like that. But didn't he hit one over the bleachers, the sun deck in right field? It bounced on the Mering Way and made it into the river, actually. And had it not been for a little piece of driftwood right there, would have ended up in the river itself and floated away.
Wow. Sounds like a good idea.
Yeah.
The Desmond leads off the Nationals' fifth inning, and grounds one to Brandon Phillips. One pitch and one out as we start the fifth, with the Reds leading 4-2. Opening game of this four-game series. J.D. Martin put down a sacrifice, which helped lead to the two Washington runs off Johnny Cueto in that third inning. 1-1 to J.D. Martin. That ball hit hard into right center field. Stubbs at the track, able to haul it in for out number 2. Well, don't miss the Fans Choice Kids giveaway. Great American Ballpark Sunday, August the 1st. You voted, and now the first 10,000 kids 14 and younger get a Brandon Phillips Kids t-shirt with a design chosen by the All-Star second baseman, thanks to Widmer's. Get your tickets now for the Reds and the Braves that entire weekend, the final weekend of July, at 513-381-REDS, or visit reds.com/family. And again, a reminder, the day before's game, on Saturday, July the 31st, if you've already bought a ticket, or maybe you're taking a look at a calendar for a start time, that Saturday game probably says 7 o'clock. That game has been moved to a 4 o'clock in the afternoon first pitch on Saturday, July the 31st. Niger Morgan rounded to the shortstop, leading off the game. Knocked in the first Washington run with a sac fly to left, plating Willie Harris in the third inning. Two to Niger Morgan. It slapped foul and out of play. Oh, that didn't miss by much. Cueto and about 3/4 of his infield were on their way back to the dugout.
Well, the question I have is, how do you take this pitch if you're Niger Morgan? Maybe you figure he can't hit it anyway. Cueto, despite throwing the ball mid-90s, really has great comeback action on that two-seamer.
A liner at Cabrera, and that's set. 1, 2, 3 in the fifth. Reds 4, Nationals 2. At Reds.com, they've got the largest selection of official gear anywhere. So get yours straight from the source. Shop the Reds.com official store today. You can do it right now. Four runs, 3 hits, 1 man left for the Reds. 2 runs, 3 hits, 2 stranded by the Nationals. Johnny Cueto looks at a strike. If you're just tuning in, we played 3 complete. They stopped the game for 42 minutes due to rain, and here we are in the bottom of the 5th inning. Only 1 base runner for either team in the inning and a half we have played since the stoppage. Breaking ball that got away from Martin there. Cueto having to hit the deck. No intent. 2-2.
Can you limbo? How low can you go?
There's probably a time when you were pretty good at that. Swing and a miss by Cueto. I don't know about it anymore, but I'm sure there was a time.
I don't know about that.
Take a look at the National League Central Division standings presented by Honda. We told you for the first time since June the 29th, the Reds go into play not in first place in the Central after the Cardinals rallied to beat the Dodgers in the 9th inning yesterday, and after falling behind early tonight against Philly, the Cardinals have blasted off, hitting 4 home runs, and in the 6th with a 4-run lead. Brandon Phillips with 1 out and nobody on. And a 2-hopper that'll back up Zimmerman. He is a very good fielder. He made that look easy, and it was not easy. 2 away in the inning.
Well, he found himself between hops on this ball. Had he tried to charge the ball, it would have been a very tough play. He decides to back up, and even with a pretty good runner going with Brandon Phillips, see how quickly he gets rid of the ball. Off-balance throw right there. That's not really fundamentally the way you'd probably see Scott Rowland play it. Rowland would probably square up and plant his feet and then try to throw it harder across the infield. But when you get to this level, you see a lot of different styles, and Zimmerman's pretty doggone good at third base.
Now Orlando Cabrera with 2 down and nobody on. The Reds a 4-2 lead. Cabrera has popped up to left and lined into a double play to end the 2nd inning, which I guess officially is not correct. They said that ball actually short hopped into the mitt of Ian Desmond and turned into a 6-4 double play. Line into right center field. This will find the gap. Harris able to cut it off, and he will hold Orlando Cabrera to a 2-out single, which will keep the inning alive for Joey Votto.
Got a nice little bit of hitting by Orlando Cabrera, finally breaking the streak of consecutive outs by J.D. Martin. Martin just kind of fires this little cutter, it looks like, on the outer part of the plate, and Orlando Cabrera just goes with it. You're going to give me a fastball away, I'll take one to right.
The end of the bat, right out Harris, and the inning is over. Boy, Votto chasing the first pitch and becoming an easy out in each of his last 2 trips. Still a 2-run Cincinnati lead.
baseball the rest of the night. Johnny Cueto, of course, one of the young pitchers in the Reds stable. We want to know in our Fox Sports Ohio Text Poll question, it's brought to you by Meyer, which young Reds pitcher on the younger side is the most likely to someday pitch a no-hitter? Edinson Volquez, Cueto, Leake, Travis Wood, who took that perfect game into the ninth in Philly, or Homer Bailey. Text 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5 to 37664. 37664, standard text message rate supply. We'll have the results coming up. This should be an interesting decision here, boys. And again, we're beating a dead horse, but a pretty good problem to have, a plethora of young arms.
Well, you're not lying about that. Johnny Cueto front and center, showing it off here tonight. Cueto has only allowed 3 hits, 2 runs. He's walked 2 batters, fanned 4. And fastball on the outside corner is a strike. Guzman, Zimmerman, and Dunn here in the 6th. This becomes a very important inning for Cueto. Not that he can't get hurt by the bottom of the order, but certainly these are the guys that are paid to produce runs. It's pretty evenly split among Wood, Leake, and Volquez there. Soft liner. How about Brandon Phillips? Not only able to get up in the air, but he brought a little hang time with him right there. It looked like he initially jumped too soon.
Well, it's all about timing, and if you don't have hang time and jump too soon, you don't make this play. But boy, does he get up there. Brandon Phillips, a former basketball player. Of course, you know his sister, Portia, a very good basketball player for the University of Georgia. And he goes up to get the rebound right here. Nicely done.
Well, you talk about riding a hot hand. The fans are very much doing that. Travis Wood leading. And the way he's thrown the ball lately, and considering the fact that he went into the 9th inning 2 starts ago with a perfect game in Philadelphia, that's probably not a bad hand to play.
Well, they've all got no-hit type stuff. I mean, maybe not Mike Leake, but he makes it look so easy out there that he can go out and, you know, give you the kind of game you may have a no-hitter. That's a tough thing to predict. What I'd rather see, of course, is all of those guys reach their potential and throw a whole bunch of 1- and 2-hitters. Keep the Reds in the ballgame every time they go out, like that young left-hander has done in his short major league career.
And let's not forget, I mean, Johnny Cueto has thrown a 1-hit shutout this year.
Exactly right. And of course, there were back-to-back shutouts. I think Bailey and Cueto threw them against the Pittsburgh Pirates. They were dominant in those 2 ball games. And, you know, I'm surprised that of those fans that voted, only 7% thought that Johnny Cueto would be the guy. He might have better stuff than all of them.
I'm with you.
But it's not always all about stuff. Homer Bailey hoping to get his simulated game underway on Wednesday or Thursday, and then maybe go down and do a couple of rehab assignments down in the minor leagues, get his arm back in the shape, get some stamina, get his pitch count up, and be back in the major leagues.
Ball forward to Zimmerman, so now the tying run comes to the plate in the form of Big Adam Dunn. 3 walks tonight by Johnny Cueto.
Well, Johnny Cueto handled Adam Dunn very nicely his last time up. I mean, he went right after him with fastballs, one after another, up and in, and really manhandled Adam Dunn. First time up, he got ahead of Adam Dunn, ended up walking him. He's trying to, you know, kind of nibbling around with the changeup and trying to fool Dunn. I think this time they may resort to what they did in his very last at bat, which is Powder River right underneath his elbows.
Well, Adam Dunn sharing the National League lead in home runs with 22 of them. They start him with a fastball up, ball 1. Well, Chris, the questions for you keep coming in. Why do major league teams use the Williams shift more against left-handed batters than right-handed batters? Very good question.
It is a good question. And the Williams shift, of course, the Ted Williams shift, mainly because I think left-handers have a tendency to pull more. You look at a pretty good pull hitter right here in Adam Dunn. That's why the Reds have the shift. 3 infielders to the right side of second base. I mean, I've seen it occasionally where you have a right-handed hitter who's a real dramatic pull hitter, and then you move that second baseman over a little bit. But right-handers and left-handers both all work on hitting the ball the other way. But if you're a big, strong power hitter like Adam Dunn, you work on in batting practice, but when it comes time to the game, you're up there wailing away. Pretty good year for Dunn. A .373 on base percentage. Combined OPS of .735.
Just above our booth.
You know, if you want to describe Adam Dunn as a hitter, you call him a fisherman. He's up there really fishing for one pitch every at bat. Middle away, something that he can hit about 900 feet. And just missed that one.
Yeah, ran it in on him at 92, and it's popped up to Cabrera. That's out number 2. With Willingham coming up.
Hey, Reds fans, for great food with family and friends this summer, think JTM. Food, family, fun, JTM.
Willingham can hurt you with a long ball as well. He has 15 of them. He has 1 hit and 2 at bats tonight. Fouled out to Hannigan in the second inning. Single to left field in the 4th. That base hit in the 4th inning was right after we resumed play following the 42-minute rain delay, and it's the only hit for the Nationals off Cueto since we started up again. 0-2 on Josh Willingham. Cueto trying to put him away and maintain this 4-2 lead. And Willingham wants timeout after Cueto had an extended look into Ryan Hannigan. And 2 now to Willingham, and it darts away from the right-handed batting left fielder.
That's a slider right there, and boy, that's a hard one too. 91 miles an hour for Cueto. He doesn't throw it often, mainly fastball, changeup, but he had Willingham kind of fishing on the last one and tried it again.
Slower breaking ball there away. 3-2 now to Willingham, so the runner will get started. And let's not forget, it's a 2-run ball game right here and right now. So Willingham the tying right at the plate. Three-two pitch. Missed with another breaking ball. 2 walks in the inning by Johnny Cueto, and now it'll be Ivan Rodriguez.
And Brian Price will take another trip out to the mound to try to calm Johnny Cueto down. This is what we referred to earlier, Tom, about these constant trips by Brian Price. You get a young pitcher like Cueto who still hasn't been able to master the mental part of the game. And you need to have a pitching coach that is on him all the time. Kind of remind him that the old neck up from the checkup, or the checkup from the neck up, as George Grand used to describe it so often. And it's just to continually remind him. It's like a parent telling an adolescent, hey, how many times do I have to tell you the same thing? And it might be an infinite number of times, and then all of a sudden, you're out of adolescence, you grow into a young adult, and you get it. And I think that's what they're waiting for with Johnny Cueto. When you've got an arm blessed like he's blessed with, he's worth the wait. Well, from Chris and Loveland, how does a rain delay affect the starting pitcher? Depends how long that rain delay is. A short one like 45 minutes shouldn't really affect you at all. Physically, not one bit. Those that extend more than an hour, hour and a half, 2 hours, it's a little different story. But usually it comes back to mental focus. Are you able to come back and turn on that mental light bulb?
Hard hit ball, and then it hits the umpire. That ball is in play. And the Nationals are going to score a run. It looked like Brandon Phillips would have had that ball, even though it ricocheted off the mound. But then once it hit the mound, it hit the second base umpire, Gary Cedarstrom. And it is a one-run game. What a bizarre play this is.
Really is. Hit very sharply by Ivan Rodriguez. Hits the mound, and Cedarstrom, you see, tries to sidestep it, but unable to do so. Brandon Phillips more than likely to be able to flag that ball down. He's going to his right, and I think that would have taken a big hop right there, and it would have been an easy flip to the shortstop Cabrera to end the inning.
They're going to send the runner back because the ball becomes dead once it hits the umpire. So it'll be a base hit, which will nullify, if I'm not mistaken, will nullify this run that scored from second base. And once Jim Riggleman was reminded of that, he can understand why the runner now is not allowed to score from second base. So the Reds get a break, really. They had a bad break to start, but that rule is a benefit in this case for the ref. If you're the team on offense, that's not good. So they are loaded after the base hit by Rodriguez, sending Zimmerman to third, Dunn to second. And here's Willie Harris. And all this mess started with a one-out walk and then a two-out walk.
Now, Willie Harris was overpowered by Cueto last time up. Essentially kept the fastball on him and blew him away.
Oh, and one account on Willie Harris, and Cueto to the plate, and he misses low. I guess low.
Boy, oh boy, that is some action on that fastball at 94 to be able to throw a ball with this much movement. You know, Johnny Cueto tonight is really getting his legs involved in his delivery. You can just see him load up on his back leg, gather himself over the pitching rubber, and really drive to the plate, using the biggest muscles in his body.
Bases loaded. Reds lead by 2. And a fly ball should end the inning. Gomes coming in to get it, and that is at the Nationals leave them loaded. Middle of the 6th. Reds 4, Washington 2. inning, and now it's time for the Coors Light Freeze Cam. Brandon Phillips high in the air to snatch it away and deny Christian Guzman of a base hit in the 6th inning, and that was our Coors Light Freeze Cam, brought to you by Frost Brewed Coors Light. Well, welcome back to Great American Ballpark. We played the first 3 innings tonight, then had a 42-minute rain delay. So that's why it's a little after 9:30 Eastern time. And we're moving into the bottom of the 6th inning. They're already in the bottom of the 7th inning in St. Louis, where the Cardinals have an 8-4 lead over Philadelphia. The Cardinals have not lost since the All-Star break. Swept the Dodgers 4 in a row and lead the Phillies with 2 innings to play at Busch Stadium tonight. Johnny Gomes. First pitch breaking ball takes a hack and rolls it foul. Strike 1 to Johnny, who has singled, scored, and popped up to short right field. Hammered into deep left center field. Way bye-bye, Johnny Gomes. That's home runs in 2 of the last 3 games now for Johnny.
Well, he was way ahead of a curveball on the previous pitch. That looks like a little bit of a cutter or slider, and he sped up the bat of Johnny Gomes just right on that. You know, on the sweet spot and back in deep into the seats in left center field. He doesn't get cheated.
Oh, no.
Take another look at the swing and our Exmo look. The Johnny Gomes home run. Power.
Jay Bruce has walked, scored, and grounded out to first. 2-1 to Bruce. And they keep working him away all night long tonight.
Well, he's pulling the ball, and we saw the shift that the Colorado Rockies put on Jay Bruce, and, you know, they would pitch him away still, and he was unable yet to kind of wait on the ball, hit the ball the other way. He's worked on it in batting practice, but just a little bit out of sync.
Two and two to Jay Bruce, and a breaking ball. They try on that outside corner, floats high to run it full.
Well, you can see in our Fox tracks exactly where they're trying to pitch him. All of those pitches that J.D. Martin firing up to Jay Bruce away. That one got the corner.
Yep, that one got the outside corner. Strikeout number 2 for J.D. Martin. I don't think Jay Bruce agreed with strike 3.
No, he doesn't, and I'll tell you, you can see that he's out of sync right now. And sometimes we've seen it in the past when Jay Bruce, who's gotten very hot, almost impossible to get out. There are other times when he goes up there thinking so much that you almost think yourself into an out. May not have been a strike, but certainly, in his recollection, too close to take.
Hit a ton by Miguel Cairo. Goodbye into the second deck. Number 3, and it gives the Reds now a 6-2 lead. That's his first home run since May the 29th against the Astros. He's had a lot of big hits between then and now.
He really has, and he's been a great fill-in addition to this ball club. Coming off the bench, giving Dusty Baker a weapon that you can go to every day. Turns on a high fastball right there. Unjams J.D. Martin into the second deck.
And here comes Jim Riggleman. Manager of the Nationals. Just now arriving at the base of the mound, and once he gets to the top, he asks for a change in the bullpen. Joel Peralta is our Skyline Chili call to the bullpen. We'll be back with more in a moment. Stretching the lead from 2 to 4. Peralta takes over on the mound and has been mighty impressive through his first 10 games.
He was very impressive in the minor leagues down in Syracuse, the AAA franchise. He was a closer down there, had a lot of saves, 20 saves, and they brought him up here, a 34-year-old right-hander that's been around a little bit.
And 1 account on Drew Stubbs. Swung on and missed, nothing at 2.
Yeah, that's his out pitch right there, and it's a splitter. Has the arm action of a fastball, kind of a tumbling action of the pitch as it goes to the plate, but it really drops. You can see that movement, but it's the deception in the arm speed. Comes out at 80 miles an hour, but it looks like it's coming at 90.
Peralta ahead of Drew Stubbs at 1-2, 1 out, nobody on. The Reds have scored twice here in the bottom of the 6th inning on home runs by Gomes and Cairo. Off the end of the bat into shallow center field. This will fall a hit. We remind you, the Columbus Blue Jackets have a 6-game pack presented by Time Warner Cable that are on sale right now, starting at just $123. You can get the Premier Pack and see the Stanley Cup champion Chicago Blackhawks on opening night, the Penguins, the Red Wings, so many more. Buy your pack now at BlueJackets.com. Threw a walk back in the 4-run second inning and then fouled out to his counterpart in the 4th. Stubbs 17 stolen bases. He has been thrown out 3 times. Still a long way to go in this one. So don't be surprised if Stubbs with 1 out tries to get into scoring position. Lance Nix has already moved into the on-deck circle. And apparently will bat for Johnny Cueto.
Well, Peralta trying to ferret out the intentions of Drew Stubbs over there at first base. Sometimes when you see a runner go back head first into the bag, gives you a little better indication that he might be thinking about a stolen base. If you go back standing up, probably not so. 91 pitches for Johnny Cueto so far.
Well, it goes. Throw down to second base. Good throw. And Stubbs just does beat it. Pudge still with a good arm back there behind the plate.
Well, Christian Guzman hung behind the runner right here, and he really didn't get in front of the bag at all. He kind of tagged Stubbs after he was already had his feet down on the bag. Well, that's just not playing it very aggressively if you're Christian Guzman, who has been anything but impressive defensively tonight.
The first stolen base in the last 18 games for Drew Stubbs, and it's his 18th steal on the year. 2-0 to count on Ryan Hannigan. Breaking ball on the outside corner. That's a good 2-0 pitch right there. Back to second, and they pick him off.
That is a quick move by Peralta right there. Quick action, also quick feet by the second baseman Christian Guzman to pick Stubbs off second base. I've always thought it's easier to pick a guy off second than first. Bigger lead out there, you sneak the second baseman in behind him, and perfect timing right there. That's something that those two have worked on before.
So now 2 outs in the inning. And a count of 2-1 on Ryan Hannigan. Peralta the high leg kick. And a fastball at 90 miles per hour is dropped foul out of play over the Reds dugout. Well, a viewer from Illinois dialed in tonight on Fox Sports Ohio. Why do they hold pitch counts down to around 100 a game? That is a frequently asked question, and Greg, we thank you for your question.
It is, and I'm not really sure how they arrived at the number 100, except that it's a nice even number. I mean, why not 115? Why not 97? You know, it's been shown over the years as you track the pitch counts of pitchers, especially young pitchers. If you overload their arm with pitches, you have breakdowns. You have Tommy John problems. You have shoulder problems. And I think that more nowadays than anything else, managers are so aware of pitch counts. I mean, they're on the board in every major league stadium, maybe every minor league stadium as well, that, you know, they don't want to be the guy to be caused an injury to a pitcher. It never was a correlation between a manager and a pitching injury before, but there is now. So they use the pitch count of 100.
3-2 delivery to Hannigan, and it's lined to the first baseman Dunn, which will end the inning. But a 2-run inning for the Reds. Solo home runs by Johnny Gomes. 2 batters later, Miguel Cairo. Reds 6, Nationals 2. Fastest 3G network, AT&T Rethink Possible. Buy your Cincinnati, Northern Kentucky Honda dealers. Visit mycincinnatihondadealer.com for current offers. By Wendy's, you know when it's real. And by Hollywood Casino, nobody has to yell action here. It's Hollywood Casino, Lawrenceburg, Indiana. Are you a little bit surprised, or really not at all, considering the rain delay of 42 minutes? And then the bases loaded jam he had to get out of in the 6th inning that Cueto is now lifted from the game.
No, I'm not surprised, and I agree with Dusty Baker completely in this decision, because over the last couple of years what we've seen is that towards the end of the year, Johnny Cueto gets tired. Last year they put him on the disabled list to give him essentially a 2-week rest so that he came back, and he came back very strong. But if you're in the middle of a pennant race, you can't afford to do that with Cueto this year. So you give him rest anywhere you can. Hopefully Dusty feels like this game is in pretty good power right now with the Reds, pretty good control, so he goes to his newest go-to guy, which is Logan Ondrusek, big, tall right-hander, who has been throwing the ball extremely well.
Cueto 6 innings, allows 4 hits, both runs are earned. He walked 3 batters, and he strikes out 4.
Really what you like to see out of Johnny Cueto, though, is on an average of every time he pitches, one more inning out of him. I mean, he's had 5 blown saves. We talked about that at the very beginning of the broadcast, Tom. And the reason he's had 5 saves is because he's left so many games after the 5th inning and after the 6th inning. A lot can happen in those innings 7 and 8. If you turn it over to just a closer, you've got a lot better chance.
Well, that had disaster written all over it, really, from the very start. Ondrusek was very slow in getting off the mound, breaking for the bag. And then Votto seemed to have a few problems with his footing before he ever threw that ball, which he threw high, which is hard to do to Ondrusek.
Well, it's not an easy play at all, and this is going to go down as an error. But you see Joey Votto playing off the bag, and he's got really more time than he thinks to get set. He throws it high, and boy, to be able to throw it over the head of Logan Ondrusek, you really have to get it up there. But he throws a little bit off balance, Joey Votto does, and because of that, he just doesn't have the good zip code on it.
Alberto Gonzalez comes on to bat now for Peralta. So he pitches 2/3 of an inning, allows a hit and no runs. One and 0 the count to Gonzalez, swinging a foul ball over the screen and out of play. 1-1 on Gonzalez. Native Venezuelan. Broke into the big leagues initially back in 2007. So after the error is charged to Joey Votto to begin the inning. The Nationals down 4, have the leadoff man aboard. High and deep into left center field, but it will stay in the park. Just short of the track. Gomes is there, 1 away, and the runner tags and advances on to second base. That's good heads-up base running right there by Ian Desmond. The rookie realized that it would not leave the ballpark and that Gomes was backing up on the ball, might have a hard time setting his feet for a strong throw.
Well, Desmond's a fast runner, and you see him setting himself up right away right there. Did not do it with the help of the first base coach. Did it all himself right there. And when you see the outfielder backing up, catching it on his heels, he's just going to take one extra step before he gets a crow hop back towards the infield. Johnny doesn't like that.
Fastball up and away to the leadoff man, Niger Morgan. 0 for 2, knocked in a run in the 3rd inning with a sac fly to left. And now Ryan Hannigan comes out to talk with Ondrusek.
I think they want to make sure that they're set on the signs here with the runner now on second base. You flip-flop the signs so that the runner can't relay those to the batter or even find out what a breaking ball is and make it easier to steal third base.
Arthur Rhodes is up and throwing in the Reds bullpen. It's a 4-run lead in the 7th inning. Morgan lifts it down the line, a long run for Johnny, and he will get there, making a sliding grab. What a nice play by Johnny Gomes. We lost sight of him up here, Chris, as he went into the slide. Did he get it in fair ground or foul ground?
Well, I don't think that Johnny Gomes is very happy that Desmond took advantage of him in the last play. And he's going to show that he's a pretty doggone good outfielder. He makes a sliding catch right there. May have been in foul territory when that ball was caught. Well, that is a superb defensive play for an offensive-minded left fielder. Our Exmo is all over it.
All over his right. So 2 away in the inning, and a dangerous hitter still left to go here in Guzman, but this is a man you want to attack. Starting next with Zimmerman. Should Guzman reach, and the Nationals with one big crack of the bat have a chance to be down just 1 run.
He's hit the ball hard twice.
This guy's a good hitter.
Yes, he is.
And has been for a long time. Tapper this time to Votto. He'll make sure. The underhand feed to Andrusik, and that'll end the inning. So an error. A man left, middle of the 7th. The Reds lead 6-2. July 30th, 31st, and August the 1st. On Saturday, the first 30,000 fans in attendance will receive a Homer Bailey bobblehead thanks to Cons. That was a bobblehead that was a Fan's Choice winner this year. So get your tickets at 513-381-REDS or visit Reds.com. And again, we remind you that Saturday game, especially being Homer Bailey bobblehead giveaway, the Saturday game on your schedule probably says 7 o'clock at night. Note the starting time change. It is now a 4:10 game on that Saturday afternoon. Please take note. We'll remind you many, many times between now and then. Sean Burnett takes over on the mound. And he'll face the pinch hitter Chris Heisey, who bats for Logan Andrusik. Andrusik 1 inning, all 0. I know we have a few more questions down there, Chris, that folks have been writing in and are interested to hear your opinions on. And so we're going to be getting to some more of those very, very soon. 1-1 on Heisey. Swinging a foul ball out of play. You know, Chris probably had a very tough night trying to get to sleep last night, Chris. When you're a young player, he's had some great moments. Yesterday came to bat in the 9th inning with a tying run at third, 1 out, and struck out against Houston Street. Swing and a miss by Heisey, and that'll be the first out here in the Reds' 7th inning.
Like deja vu all over again.
Well, from Rick and Dayton, Tom, what is your favorite memory of Joe Nuxhall growing up? You know what, Rick? Every day was a great day with Joe Nuxhall. I mean, when you're a little kid and you're growing up around the ballpark, you look at older people very, very differently than once you become an adult years later. And I remember Joe Nuxhall through the eyes of a little kid. Sweetest guy in the world. Every time you saw him, he couldn't have been more pleasant. Years went by, went through high school, went through college, saw him a lot less. Started working here in town right out of college, saw him a little bit more. And then moved away for 20 years. And only got a chance to see him maybe a handful of times per year. Every time the Diamondbacks would play the Reds, get a chance to see Joe. And I'd come back and go to the radio show, the Reds Hot Stove League, once during the winter time and hang out with my dad, knowing Joe would be there. But Chris, I think you would agree. Joe was the kind of guy that wasn't always necessarily the one story. And people expect you oftentimes to tell one story, and a lot of us do have a story or two about, you know, this situation or that guy or that person, whatever it might be. But he was just a great guy to be around every time you were around him. And that's what I remember the most about him.
I agree. You could never get enough of him.
No. We had a lot of give and take all the time about me going to Ohio University and him being a big Miami of Ohio guy, and they're big rivals. So anytime they would play in any sport, we'd really give each other the business back and forth.
He was the last one to finally convert to call Miami the Red Hawks, wasn't he?
Oh, yeah.
He's
still not called.
He did not like that name change.
No. The Lord uses that nickname in heaven with Joe. And he said, no, that you're talking about, no. It's not the Red Hawks. 3-2 on Brandon Phillips. Well, thank you very much for your question. And for those of you standing by with those questions for Chris, we're going to get to those quickly. Ground ball to short. Nice play there by Desmond. Boy, that's a good-looking play. And he's a nice-looking young player.
That's what we saw in Washington when the Reds went out to play the Nationals on their home field. We saw this young man make some superb plays, and boy, he's got terrific range up there. How about that? And he's throwing out one of the faster runners on the Reds ball club right there in Brandon Phillips. Looking for his first hit of the night. He is denied. Helped by a big long stretch by a pretty tall first baseman right there.
Two away now for Orlando Cabrera. 1 for 3 in the game. Had a single in the right center field in the 5th. Desmond this time from the hole. What a play on one hop to throw to Dunn. My, oh my. Back-to-back very nice efforts by Ian Desmond. The Reds lead as we go to the 8th, 6-2. Johnny's cooled off for quite a while here of late. He's also made an outstanding play in the outfield. And the way the Reds have gone offensively, they'd love for him to crank it back up again.
Absolutely right. I mean, he surpassed his numbers in the first half over his career numbers by a great deal. So do you expect Johnny Gomes to have every bit as good a second half? Maybe not, but here's a chance for Johnny Gomes really to rejuvenate his major league career. He was a free agent for most of the winter until the Reds finally signed him. And he's one of the big cogs in this offense, and they really do need Johnny Gomes to continue like he did in the first half. I'll tell you what, he brings energy to the ballpark every day. Great guy to be around, and he offers just more than what he does on the field. And that sounds sometimes like a throwaway line. We talk about Roland that way, and Cabrera that way, and Gomes that way, but there's something to it.
Nick Massett now takes over on the mound, facing Ryan Zimmerman, Adam Dunn, and Josh Willingham here in the Washington 8th inning. Johnny Cueto, the front 6 innings, allowed 4 hits, 4 walks, 4 strikeouts, 2 runs. Logan Ondrusek, 1 inning, no hits, no runs. And now Nick Massett. Well, those questions just keep pouring in, Chris, tonight. Something we're trying a little bit different here tonight, and with so many fans all over Reds country. We've heard from Florida. That's not even considered Reds country. We've got 2 questions in from Florida watching on the satellite tonight. Questions from Illinois, Indiana,
North Carolina,
obviously Ohio, North Carolina. A lot of Reds fans all over the country. And they have a chance tonight for the first time all year long to really pick your brain on some topics that they want to know more about. That breaking ball didn't miss by much. All right, let's go back to some more of it. It's pretty cool doing this. Ryan from Columbus. What young guys will see playing time when the rosters expand in September?
Well, unlike years past.
Good stuff here, Ryan. That's
a good question. And in years past, you say, well, let's see what the prospects look like down there. And believe me, the Louisville Sluggers are chock full of prospects. In fact, I talked to a couple of scouts tonight. One of them, Casey McKeon, a scout for the Washington Nationals, telling me that, this Louisville team and the Double-A team, they have got tons of prospects down there. But I don't think that if you're in a pennant race, you're going to bring too many players in to really do much except those guys that you can anticipate helping the ball club win. You may bring in some guys. You're obviously going to bring in a couple of extra arms. You may bring in an extra catcher. I imagine if Corky Miller is being sent back down after Ramon Hernandez is activated, he'll be back. And you'll probably see some guys coming up off to maybe do some pinch hitting. Individually, I would imagine that if Aroldis Chapman is not up by then, you'll see him. You'll probably see Daniel Ray Herrera back. You might see Yonder Alonso. You probably see some other pitchers. Maybe a guy like Sam LeCure. Hopefully Chris Dickerson will be back by then and ready to play.
One and one account on Adam Dunn. The one guy that is just absolutely not going to cover off the ball is the former #1 pick 3 years ago, as it's 1-2 on Dunn, is Devin Mesoraco. Now, I'm going to double check in between innings because I'm not quite sure whether or not Mesoraco is on the Reds' 40-man roster, and that will certainly go a long way in determining whether or not you bring him up first at AAA and then in September with a big league club. Those are the kinds of things which you look at AAA numbers, which Mesoraco is still in AA, but you look at guys' numbers and say, well, boy, it'd be great to have him on the team, but then you start getting into some of the the 40-man roster decisions you'd have to make, and are you making an alteration, putting a guy on, which means you got to take somebody off. So oftentimes some of that may prevent somebody from being brought up, especially if you're only talking about playing a pinch hit appearance there, maybe as a third catcher over here in a game or two. Because like you said, if the Reds are where they want to be in September, you know, maybe Juan Francisco comes up to get a pinch hit appearance and try and win a game for you with a home run.
Then we may see Russ Springer, depending on how he pitches down in the minor leagues. The Reds recently signed him.
And the big news is tomorrow, the longtime closer for the St. Louis Cardinals, while Walt Jocketty was there as a general manager, Jason Isringhausen, is going to work out here at Great American Ballpark and pitch in front of all the Reds brass to see if this guy has anything left to maybe come back. Why not?
Of course, now you're really talking about changes in the 40-man roster when you start adding guys like that. Well, the Boo Birds are out after a couple of runners have reached base right here. The walk to Adam Dunn. And Brian Price is wearing a path out to the mound tonight. He'll come out to talk to Nick Massett.
Well, I mean, you can understand the fans' reaction here. I mean, you're cruising along. You got a 4-run lead. It's in the 8th inning. And a guy comes in and walks 2 back.
Yep. Really, it's a matter of trying to be too fine for Nick Massett. I've never threw 95 miles an hour, so I never knew what it was like. But you always want to be able to think that if a guy goes out there with the arsenal that Nick Massett has, go ahead and let him rip at it. Show me your stuff. Throw underneath somebody's elbows a couple of times, and then throw some strikes.
You know, you can talk about starting pitching. You can talk about the Reds offense. There are so many things you can say, well, this has got to happen. You can talk about this guy. You know, you need Jay Bruce to get going. You talk about that guy. Can he do it again in the second half? I'm not sure there's any more important player than Nick Massett if the Reds are going to reach the playoffs. There are guys that are going to play more. There aren't going to be a lot of guys that pitch more. And there aren't going to be many guys who are going to pitch in more critical innings and situations than Nick Massett.
Well, you're right. As long as he kind of hovers where he is right now. But if he really goes bad, he's not going to have this job long. And if he goes good, of course, the ball club is going to win.
Pop up. Infield fly rule in effect here, and that's the first out of the inning.
I think the difference there when you've got a short reliever and late in the ball game, you have people that you can punch into that spot. You can use Andrusik right there, even though he's a rookie. You can use Jordan Smith there if you have to. You could bring in Arthur Rhodes or Bill Bray more often. But he's the guy that's been given that job, and he's earned it based on what he did last year. Nick Massett pitched excellent baseball last year, not just the second half either. He had a real good year, with the exception of a couple of bad games that kind of tarnished his earned run average. He was dominant.
Now Ivan Rodriguez 1 for 3 in the game, 2 on, 1 out. We're in the 8th. Ball 1. Two on, 1 out, 2 balls and no strikes on Rodriguez. He loves swinging it back, and he's looking for a fastball to hit right here and right now. He got it, and this will be a double play to end the inning. So Massett, after a couple of walks, gets a pop-up and a ground ball double play. The Nationals leave a man. Reds bat in the bottom of the 8th, up by 4. Summer Wiffle Classic, Saturday, August 14th. Teams compete in youth and adult divisions. The Final Four move on to the championship round, and that'll be at Reds Fest in December. All players get a free T-shirt and a Reds game ticket. For more information, visit Reds.com/summerwiffle. Nothing like wiffle ball, man. Even now. Play in the backyard with my little boy and little girl. Still a great game, man.
Are you a better wiffle ball pitcher or hitter?
Without question, hitter. It's Hammer City. But notice I said wiffle ball.
That's all right.
Yeah, I'm not trying to kid anybody here. I'm not talking the hard ball with a wooden bat. Ball one to Joey Votto. Straight away center field. Backing up on it, Nigel Morgan. And another quiet night for Joey. Only 2 hits through the first 4 games on this homestand. Doug Slayton, the left-hander, takes over on the mound. All right, Chris, here you go. Kelly and Dave would like to know, what is your favorite Reds moment so far of this season?
Well, for me, it's easy. I mean, I enjoyed, and it wasn't just the one moment, but I enjoyed the entire game pitched by Travis Wood in Philadelphia. I mean, going right down to the wire, nearly seeing a perfect game pitched for a kid just making just a couple of third start in the major leagues. That was exciting. When you start talking about all the walk-off and the last at-bat wins the Reds have had, though, it's hard to just pin down one. But I would say if I had to pick one, that would be it. And unfortunately, that ended up in a Reds loss, believe it or not.
1-0 in 10 innings that game. 1-2 to Johnny Gomes. He's had a lot of big moments this year, a lot of big swings. We'll jam a couple of more in here before we wrap this thing up here tonight. And I'm sure we'll be trying this again in the very near future. You know, it'd be good to do some of these questions for, and you could throw a couple of like trivia stumpers at him as Paul. When you and Paul are out west. As Paul Keels is very, very good.
Have you ever tried to stump him
behind Johnny Gomes? Wow.
Have you ever tried to stump him on a trivia question of any kind? Sports, music?
I never get to see him anymore.
That's true.
I mean, that's the only thing about, you know, when I'm working, he's not, and when he's working, I'm not. I really enjoy being around him. He is just such a great guy. 3-2 pitch. And a bouncer in the hole at short. Desmond fires a one-hopper, and Gomes beat it out. Desmond took a long time preparing himself for that throw, and Johnny is always busting it up that line.
Well, you know, talking to Tim Foley, one of the coaches for the Nationals before the ball game today, we were talking about Ian Desmond. He says, you know, he's got great talent, but sometimes he just does some kind of dumb things, and that's one of them right there. He kind of sets up to show his arm off a little bit, throws the ball down in the dirt. Meanwhile, Johnny Gomes is hustling, smelling a base hit. And just like that, if you run hard enough every time, you're going to get your fair share of some infield hits.
Johnny has 13 of them this year. That is second on the club, second only to the speedy Drew Stubbs. Jay Bruce, a roller to Guzman on the first pitch, and that's an easy out. 2 away in the inning.
You know what they say, the difference between batting 250 and 300 is 2 base hits a week. And if you can pick one of those base hits up just by hustling to first base, in today's market, you can make a lot of money.
Oh, you better believe it. I mean, you know, case in point, we just mentioned Johnny Gomes, 16 infield hits while we were away at the break. We're going to take away 16 hits. His batting average with the 16 infield hits is .283. Be interesting to see what that average is.
Let's get your guy Daddy Wags on it right now.
Absolutely. Miguel Batista coming in from the Nationals bullpen.
Coaches on Reds Live, brought to you by King's Honda in the King's Auto Mall. Visit King'sHondaUSA.com.
Miguel Batista comes on to face Miguel Cairo with Johnny Gomes at second and 2 outs here in the Reds' 8th inning. Well, I tell you what, I have so many fond memories of this young man out there on the mound, Miguel Batista, now working exclusively out of the Nationals bullpen. But you know, a lot of people like to remember those Arizona Diamondback teams, especially the one that won the World Series in 2001. And everybody remembers Randy Johnson, and they remember Curt Schilling. Very few remember Miguel Batista. But I happen to be hanging around that Diamondback team. He went 11-8 that year with a 3.36 ERA. Pitched 30 games out of the bullpen and made 18 starts. In that 2001 World Series, he went into Yankee Stadium in Game 3 of that series with the Diamondbacks already ahead 2 games to none and shut out the Yankees in 8 innings. That was the first of back-to-back nights where the Yankees did what no team has ever done in the history of the World Series, and that's win when trailing going into the bottom of the 9th inning. I mean, this guy, Sparky Anderson, he had a video clip from Sparky last night, and he talked about Pedro Borbon. He said, you know, the guy would give you everything he had. And I would liken Miguel Batista in exactly that same way. This guy will give you everything he has. Gamer. 3-1 to Cairo. And he's given up a base hit to drive in a run. A big night for Gomes, a big night for Cairo. Each with big base hits. 2 RBIs for Miguel. 2 runs scored and an RBI by Gomes, and the Reds now lead by 5.
It's a Johnny Gomes run right here. I mean, if he doesn't hustle down the line, he doesn't give Miguel Cairo a chance to drive him in. So Cairo picks up a run batted in. The Reds get another run. Gomes gets another run scored on his individual ledger. And it's all good, all because of hustle by that guy.
Johnny's got one to sleep.
You play like that, you become a team leader. You don't have to say a thing. And, of course, you can't keep Johnny Gomes from talking. But even if he didn't talk, he could be a leader just by the way he plays. Plus, he's got that lion's mane working.
He's all dressed up in a sport coat, a suit last night, and came walking down the runway like all the current Reds players did and all the Reds Hall of Famers. And had that mohawk. Had a big round of applause from the crowd.
Big round of applause. How'd you like Randy Myers' camouflage sport coat?
Loved it. Absolutely loved it. You wouldn't have expected anything different.
You got one of those hanging in the master bedroom closet?
Couple of them. Hallway closet. Keep them ready in the winter.
I mean the sport coat, not the overcoat.
No. I wear the sport coat frequently around town in the winter.
You ought to come over to Kentucky sometime in that.
I have other clothes for going over there. There's a ground ball foul. 2-2 to count. Look at that little guy. I mean, it's all the rage with the little guys these days, believe me.
Oh, yeah.
I've got a 5-year-old at home, and his T-ball team, now none of the parents have taken that bait, but I'm going to tell you right now, there are kids all over Reds country. Ohio, Kentucky, Tennessee, West Virginia, Indiana, Illinois, Tennessee, I don't care where you go. There are little guys everywhere that want to look like John. I see, Chris, with those long flowing locks that you have, that shot we just saw of Johnny, you don't have to worry about any of that noise. Get that thing wet like you just did, pour a little water on it, you're good to roll. Three and two to count, Stubbs. And there's a base hit into left field.
A 3-hit night for Drew tonight. A double in the second inning, came around to score. He was scored the 4th run of that second inning. Also picked up a couple of singles in his last 2 at-bats.
Well, the bottom of the 8th inning continues for the Reds, leading 7-2. There you go. I don't think that guy played T-ball this year, but he likes the look.
Could be a T-ball dad.
Might be. And again, digging in. Takes outside, ball 1.
You know, for me, I'm not so sure about that, but I know that you were a little concerned earlier in the summer about some of the gray growing in.
Yeah, I was a little worried. And then I got more worried when it wasn't there.
But, you know, you're brown on top.
Yeah.
So if you could crop it real close, shave it on the sides, and just the mohawk on top, you wouldn't show any gray.
Well, that is definitely something to consider. And there's strike. And it would have been better than what I decided.
Yes, it would.
Yeah. 1-1 to Ryan Hannigan. I have never thought of myself as more handsome than I do now every day I look in the mirror. Only because mistakes are long gone. Strike on the outside corner. Thank you for reminding me that.
It would be a pretty good look.
It would be. One and two on Ryan Hannigan. And that's strike 3 called to end the inning. But the Reds tack on another run. The Nationals will bat in the 9th. With the Reds in front 7-2. down the left field line with a runner at second base, and Johnny the sliding grab. Very nice. Johnny Gomes' night is over. He will be taken down defensively for left fielder Lance Nix. As we are in the top of the ninth inning, and the Reds have a 7-2 lead, and obviously not a safe situation. But Francisco Cordero has not pitched since Friday night when he nailed down the save. What a great game that was Friday night. A 3-2 win over Colorado, and Cordero picked up his 25th save of the year. Jerk foul by Willie Harris, strike one. The one thing we saw from Cordero on Friday night, I don't know about you, Chris, but I know I have not seen it in the games I've done since he came back to town. He pitched a lot inside. There's a fastball there. It's 1-1 strike on Willie Harris.
Well, as I remember, Tom, on that watching that game on television, you and the Cowboy calling it, it seemed like he pitched to a lot of left-handed hitters, and he pitches lefties inside. He throws well to his glove side, the first base side of home plate. That's a good spot for him right there, and he's got a little bit of a comeback action on that fastball. Keeping the heater on Harris all night.
And they're going in there again at 94 miles per hour, and it misses 2 balls, 2 strikes. Told you the Cardinals finished off Philadelphia 4. So the Reds with a win would remain a half game behind St. Louis, who for so long, Chris, they went through a stretch 29 wins against 33 losses. 62 games where they played 4 games under 500. They didn't hit at all. And now all of a sudden, the last number of games before the break and since the break, Cardinals are starting to hit like the Cardinals expect to hit.
Yeah, they're playing some pretty good ball clubs, too, in the Dodgers and the Philadelphia Phillies. Remember what the Reds did offensively against the Phillies during their trip to Philadelphia. Not a whole lot.
Ian Desmond will step to the plate with 1 out and nobody on in the 9th. Cueto in line to pick up the win. It would be his 9th against only 2 losses. And J.D. Martin would slip to 1-5 with a loss. Two on Ian Desmond. And it's in the dirt. 1-2 strikes. Want to thank everybody for their questions tonight. Jeff Ruby even sent in a question tonight. The restaurateur in Cincinnati.
What was his question?
He just wanted to know something because I know you and him haven't spent a whole lot of time together, but he wanted to know, what are some of your favorite hobbies outside of working in baseball?
Well, I
want to thank Jeff very much for taking the time to do that.
How about that? Well, I like golf. I like hanging with the kids. I like eating in restaurants.
Oh, boy,
like Jeff's restaurant. And any of the Ruby restaurants are fine with me.
There's a 2-hopper down to Votto and the Nationals down to their final round.
In fact, I'm looking forward to heading when the Reds go to St. Louis to get out and taste the fare at his new restaurant out there in the St. Louis area.
He was kind enough to invite us the last time, and we had that rain delay when we went rolling in. So, Jeff Ruby, thank you very much. It's very nice. Adam Kennedy, the batter, now as the crowd comes to its feet. Kennedy. Well, Kennedy really had a rough day yesterday in Florida. A couple of critical mistakes on the base paths in a 1-0 loss. 1-1. Kennedy, a former American League Championship Series most valuable player. Back in his days with the Anaheim Angels. 1-1 pitch, and it's down and in. Reds in front by 5. And an out away from taking the opener this 4-game series and going to 3-1 on his homestand to begin the quote-unquote second half of the 2010 year. 2-2 to Kennedy. Fouled away, will do it again. Kennedy hanging in there. Reds record would go to 10 games over the 500 mark. But again, for those of you perhaps just joining us late, the Cardinals have already won. So the Reds will stay a half game behind St. Louis in the Central. And you know what? People can say whatever they want to say about it. But it's never too early to start looking at the wild card as well. Not for a second that you don't think about winning the division title. But the idea is to get in. And there's ball 4 to Kennedy. And if you're wondering, and a lot of people out there are not wondering, because they'll say it's too early. But you know what? If the season ended today, there's your wild card leader. About to go to 52 and 42 if Cordero notches a final out.
Well, that's got a chance to be a good race right on down to the end.
You ain't lying.
Wow. Of course, the Reds have yet to visit a lot of those teams right there. Colorado, San Francisco, Los Angeles, San Diego, of course, in the driver's seat in the West right now. A lot of great baseball to be playing.
It is going to be a fun final 2 months and roughly 10 days. Hit hard in the right, and the Reds now officially 10-0. They jumped in front early with a 4-run second. The lead whittled down to 2. They scored twice in the 6th inning on home runs by Gomes and Cairo. Tack on a run in the 8th. And Dusty Baker's team will celebrate a